Hey everyone at Coursera, my name is David, I'm from Ontario, and today I'm going to be teaching you the important studio cables you need to have in your home studio and the usages for these cables. So, without further ado, let's get to it. The first cable I want to talk about today is the 1/4" cable, or the TS cable. This cable is the most commonly used cable in your home studio, period. If you are taking an instrument and you want to run it through your computer or through your DAW system, you want to record any audio, this cable is the cable you are going to use to do that. The cable has two parts, the tip and the sleeve, and it is an unbalanced cable, meaning that it's easily susceptible to noise. The best way to use this cable is if it's shorter, so that there is less area for the electronic signal to be drawn off course or to become distorted, and it's typically used when connecting an instrument to a DI or to your interface. The next cable I want to talk about is the 1/4" TRS cable. Now, this cable has three parts as opposed to the TS cable. It has the tip, the ring, and the sleeve, as opposed to the TS, which just had the tip and the sleeve. This cable is used more for headphones or headphone jacks. You'll see it more commonly used there. And it's a stereo input, meaning that it has both the left and the right built into it, and the cables for each of these are woven together, whereas with the TS cable, or the instrument cable, it was only a mono cable, meaning it had one line running through. The cable, the TRS, acts as a dual conductor cable. So as I said before, it has two cables in it, one for the left, one for the right, and it acts like two cables built together into one. So two mono cables that are put together into one cable. It can be used to transmit two stereo signals or one signal while canceling noise that enters the cable, meaning that it is a balanced cable when it's using one signal, or an unbalanced cable where it's transmitting a stereo signal. The third cable I want to talk about is the XLR cable. This is your standard cable that you're going to use to input microphones into your interface, or into a mixing board, or into any other sort of device which you can take audio and put it out to a set of speakers or into a DAW. It has both a male and a female end, depending on which side of the cord you look at. So the male end will have three prongs hidden by a shield, and the female end will have three holes, again, surrounded by a shield. The female end also has a locking feature that will keep it secure when it's attached to a mixing board or to another end of a male XLR input. So microphones typically have the male end of an XLR cable built into the back of them. So you can plug your female end of your XLR into the back of a microphone, and the locking feature will just clip it in and hold it secure, so that when you pull on the mic and the cable, it won't come undone. It'll be terrible for your cable, but they will stay completely attached for you. One feature of the XLR is that it is not used for stereo signals. It's used for mono only. So you can't have sort of two sides of different hearing for an XLR cable. So say you put one thing into the cable and you try and put something else into it, it won't be able to separate that into two different channels. It'll stay as one channel and come out as a mono signal, as opposed to having it as a stereo signal. So the three cables I just talked about are the staple for any home studio. Those are the three cables that you will have no matter what you're doing. Those are what you are going to need, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The next few cables I'm going to talk about are really important and really good to have, but they aren't 100% you will need them. They're really good to have, but they aren't nearly as important as the three listed above. So the first I'm going to talk about is the RCA cable. The RCA cable is used for consumer grade equipment. Very rarely will you see in a professional studio 10 RCA cables all attached to different monitors, into mixing boards, into other things. You just don't see that sort of thing. Occasionally you'll see one or two, but as opposed to like an XLR where you'll see hundreds of them laid out everywhere with miles of cabling for them beneath the mixing boards and in the floors, you don't see that much RCA as opposed to the XLR or a TS or a TRS. RCA cables usually come with three-part conductors, so you can have both left and a right, so stereo sound from your RCA, and the third connector will connect to a video port, so you can have video with it. The RCA will act like a TS or a TRS cable. The one thing that you'll have to think about with your RCA cable is your line level difference when you're connecting it to professional music equipment. So we talked about how we'll have a +4 or a -10 line levels. You always have to think about, well, what am I trying to do with it? -10 is your consumer line level, +4 is your pro line level. And for your RCA cable, most often it's built in so that it sounds best with -10, but if you're going to do any recording with it, then you'll want to bump it up to +4 for your recording and then take it down to -10 when you're listening to something. The next cable I'm going to talk about is the 1/8 inch cable. It's primarily used for your headphones or your earphones, and you won't see it nearly as much as you'd see a TS or a TRS cable or an XLR. You'll see it when you are monitoring something through a set of headphones, or where you're listening to a mix, or you're trying to, just get one little thing changed in your mix, and you're trying to listen to it through a pair of headphones to change that up. That's when you'll see your 1/8 inch cable. So like I said, it's primarily used in your headphones. And it looks like a mini version of a TRS cable, meaning that it has 3 parts: the tip, the ring, and the sleeve, as opposed to the TS cable, which just has the tip and the sleeve. So it can also be connected to a stereo connector by taking a 1/4 inch adapter and plugging it into one end for your 1/8 inch and one end for your 1/4 inch. If you want to connect a regular 1/8 inch headphone jack into a 1/4 inch jack for some strange reason. The next cable that I want to talk about is the MIDI cable. It stands for the Musical Instrument Digital Interface. So, as suggested by the name, it's used for instrumentation. Specifically, you'll see it most often in synthesizers, like old Korg microKORGs, or for any other sort of older musical gear, pre the 2010 age. You'll see a lot of MIDI cable inputs, and even now when you see a synthesizer for sale, you will still often see MIDI input on them, but they are not specifically designed to be only MIDI anymore. Now, the MIDI cable is a protocol digital interface that's used for musical instruments, computers, related equipment, and it's used so that all of these things, all these very different spheres of technology, can all communicate with each other. So an instrument will be able to read a computer score, or to input a series of commands into an instrument. This way you can affect the reverb, you can affect the delay, you can add so many different effects that you don't have on, say, a synthesizer. You can add those to your synthesizer, and through that you can create a very wide variety of your. The final 2 cables that I want to talk about, we didn't talk about at all in the Coursera course, and those are the SPDIF cable and the Toslink cables. So SPDIF cables are used in consumer audio equipment to output audio in short distances. So an SPDIF is used only with things like DVD players or home theater amplifying receivers, and these can be important if you don't have enough cash to pay for a good solid pair of monitoring speakers, or recording speakers, or anything that can output like was mentioned in the course. So if you want to connect your DVD player, or computer, home theater amplifying receiver, all these things together, you can do that with your SPDIF cable. Please note that it sounds best with a Dolby Digital or a DTS system underneath it. The SPDIF stands for a Sony Philips Digital Interface, and it's not tied to any sampling rate or audio standard, but it is tied to the Sony Digital Interface, meaning that they will dull down some of your high ends and boost some of your low ends, so that all of your sound sounds a little bit more muddled. And through that, it'll give you a bit of a fuller sound, but it won't give you a more accurate sound to what you're listening for or you're monitoring. So the SPDIF cable uses an unbalanced 75 ohm coaxial cable, which can be up to 10 meters long. It'll have RCA connectors or optic fibers, which terminate with a Toslink or a Toshiba link connector, which is the next cable that I want to talk about. It's similar to your SPDIF cable, and it's also used for consumer-grade electronics, but it's connected to CD players as well as DVD players. This cable is extremely unbalanced. It's best used if it's no longer than 5 meters, and it uses the SPDIF protocol to transmit signals from a CD or a DVD player to your home theater systems. Now, it was created by Toshiba for their products, but it was also but later on it was embraced for the CD DVD player use to better connect your home theater systems, speakers, subwoofers, all of these things back to your DVD player. so that they can all communicate with each other so they all know what you were playing. It was the birth of surround sound using the toslink cable. The cable is also made from fiber optic materials, and again, these cables not especially important. They're best in your home studio if you don't have a good set of monitoring speakers. If you do, then these cables are irrelevant and you won't need to use them. So thank you very much for your time. That's all the cables that I want to talk about. That's the basics for your home studio, and I hope you enjoyed it and you learned a little bit from it. Thanks.